The Director General of the Peter Obi campaign organization, Donyo Kukwe, has been sentenced to 2 years imprisonment for breaching the Money Laundering Act. In a judgment delivered on Monday, the presiding judge, Ijoma Ojukwu of the Federal High Court in Abuja, found Okukwe guilty of receiving over 200 million naira cash from the former National Security Advisor, Colonel Sambo Dasuki. The court also sentenced him to 2 years imprisonment with an option fine of 500,000 naira. The option of fine is to run consecutively on each count, while the sentence is to run concurrently. The EFCC had arraigned Okukwe in 2019 on a 59-count charge bordering on alleged money laundering and diversion of funds to the tune of 702 million naira. The judge said the NSA is not a financial institution, and although the former president allegedly authorized the funds, he did not specify a cash payment in violation of the Money Laundering Act. Well, to speak more on this development, Evans Ufeli, legal expert, joins me now. Thank you very much for joining me now. Donyo Kukwe has been sentenced to 2 years imprisonment for breaching the Money Laundering Act. Now, is that the maximum punishment that can be given out for that crime?
No, that is not the maximum punishment. Section 18, subsection 1 of the Money Laundering Act, that is the amended version, because we have the Money Laundering Act 2011, which has been abolished by the Money Laundering Act 2022. Now, the Money Laundering Act 2022 says that where a person is found guilty of money laundering, the penalty for same should not be less than 4 years and should not be more than 14 years. But you know that perhaps the 2022 Money Laundering Act was not applied. That is what it means, because the act should not act retroactively. That is the 20, because as at the time the offense was committed, we were still using the Money Laundering Act 2011. The new act should be the one that the old act is the one that the court relied on, and that is why 2 years imprisonment was given to that effect. This is a call to Nigerians that if you have to make transaction of that large amount, you must make sure you go through a financial institution. Because for example, if you are traveling abroad, for example, if you have more than $10,000 with you, you have to declare it. If you don't declare, it becomes an offense. Money laundering, it becomes money laundering. So even though we know that criminal prosecution is one that comes with thoroughness, because time does not run against the state. You can imagine, as at the time this offense was committed, it's been a long time, and now conviction is being handed down by the state on the culprit. So people should be cautious of such transactions when they make them, to ensure that they are within the bounds of the law, they are within the limits that the law allows them to be within, and that all transactions of that nature should go through a financial institution. That is the most important thing. Where it becomes, even though the president authorized this, but the law is standing on the ground that you do not need to make it a cash transaction, but a bank transaction.
So, court, you had to ask you this other question. Now, if you can hear me, the court also gave Okukwe an option of fine of 500,000 naira. Now, do you agree that light sentences such as this would be counterproductive to the government's fight against corruption? What do you think about this?
Yeah, such kind of conviction with an option of fine to a very low amount will not encourage the fight against corruption, because the man in question can just pay from his pockets right there. So if we are serious about the fight against corruption, and the option of fine should be let out of this, so that the penalties should be made stiffer, and so that it becomes a deterrent to would-be offender. Where you convict someone for 2 years and you give him an option of fine, it's just an academic exercise. it's a complete academic exercise because in the case, I mean, even if they are supposed to appeal this, it will be of no effect. But I know they were appealing because of the stigma that falls on the defendant or on the convict. I know it's because of that stigma they will appeal, maybe to find respite at the Court of Appeal and subsequently to the Supreme Court to take down the stigma and the shame. But the option of fine just make a mess of the whole thing because corruption has been a very big problem in our society. And the last thing you would think about is a court making that soft landing for a convict to pay option of fine and then walk away. It's not what we should do at this moment of our history and our democracy.
Well, all right now, Ufeli, legal expert, thank you very much for your time and contribution.